The cane came from an accident about a little over a year ago when I didn't want her to meet her this way, but she ran into my truck and tore it right into. So that laid me up for quite a while. And that's the way of life. How do you get in there? It's my neighbor picture. I didn't know it was in there. Oh, wow. Well, congratulations on your 50th. And I just picturing in my mind the first shovel of dirt that started out here somewhere. And it was probably a dream of a few people. And you know, I when I went to seminary, I also studied under Margaret Mead. And these people were fantastic. She says, where 2 or 3 people get together and discuss an idea, you can create miracles. And sure enough, here it is. It's on Orchard Drive. It's a beautiful drive. Trouble is 40 years, man, I couldn't recognize this area no more. I couldn't recognize it. I'd be lost if I came back, you know, just out of nowhere. Well, today I'm going to make remarks, and I also want to thank Don Proctor and Bob and Nancy have put me up for the time I'm here. And I know I'm a pest, but that's okay. You know what? I had some weird ideas what I was going to present today. And my first sermon was titled, My Knit Tie. You remember the old knit ties? Well, I had one, it was a black one, and I was in love with that thing. And I wore it everywhere until it disappeared. So, but I gave that up, and I decided I wanted something else. From St. John, the 14th chapter, 12th verse. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I do, shall he do also. And remember this, and greater works, than these shall he do. Greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto my Father. And that impressed me. That saying has impressed me all my life. Greater works will you and I do. Well, that drove me crazy for a while because, you know, if a guy can change water into wine, Oregon had it made. But the other day I was in a restaurant, and the restaurant says, there was for root beer. I was in A&W root beer. And it said, tap into something great. Tap in. And that impressed me for root beer. And Matthew 20:26, but whosoever will be great among you, let him be your minister. Let him be your director. Well, let's see here. First of all, when I do read the biblical accounts of how Jesus taught some of his disciples, he always used stories. He brought up some of the past, a future, maybe even a new idea. And I thought to myself, then I'm going to give you a couple of stories. And this has kind of infected me, that the human being, the human person, is such a unique individual. Because it seems like we can be a lot of different types of individuals within the same soul. And to give you some abstractions of what I've done in my life, and this is what Jesus did. He told about his experiences. And one experience, I was in a bus station, and a young man was there counting his pennies and his nickels. And I watched him, and I said, I wonder if he's trying to get enough collection to go home. So I went over beside him and I said, well, would an extra 50 cents help you? He said, oh, that would get me home. 50 cents to get the man home. And so that was a story. That was a story. And you never know, we never know the endings of how the Spirit is displayed within ourselves. And I see us as within Christianity and the whole scheme of life. We face some rough problems in our day. And they're not easy. Believe me, they're not easy to tackle. And I thought to myself, I can't go out and raise a ruckus about who they are or who I am, but one at a time. And I think you have to have the greatest observation